Hello, thank you for tuning in. Today I have the pleasure of sitting with Queen, the CEO of Queen E Collection, an amazing high fashion luxury brand. It's wonderful. She's had celebrities wear it, and it's really great stuff. I've had the pleasure of knowing Queen, not just as a CEO, but also as a great person. And so it's my privilege today to be able to interview her and have her share her story with you. So thank you so much for joining us, Queen.
Thank you for having me, Achumboro.
Awesome. So tell us a little bit about yourself. What's your background? Because people often think that they have to go to business school or they have to have especially for a fashion line, that they have to go to some place like FIT or a fashion school. So what's your background?
So for me, I have no background in fashion. I always dreamt of becoming a doctor growing up as a young child. So I was on that track till college, and afterwards, until I took a leap year, that's when I tried to figure out what do I really want to do with myself. So I have my background in biochemistry and molecular biology and math, and I have my master's in health economics. So it's completely...
So wait, we're not going to just skip over that. So what's your degree again, so the people don't have to turn?
I have my Bachelor of Science in Biochemistry and Molecular Biology.
And molecular biology, wow.
Yeah, and my Master's is in Health Economics and Health Policy.
Okay.
So that's completely different from the fashion. And I always believe in, obviously, having multiple streams of income, right? But I'm also passionate about healthcare, but my purpose and my calling is in the fashion business, fashion industry.
That's
so
awesome.
that's how I ended up here. So basically that's my background. I didn't go to FIT or none of that stuff, but that doesn't mean you can't pursue business or follow your dreams and your goals. Everybody's completely different, and if you feel the leading or the calling to go into those institutions just to better your craft, that's completely up to you.
Wow.
Yeah. So that's about that.
That's good. That's awesome. So when did you feel, from going from a doctor to running your own fashion company, when did you start feeling that, okay, I'm not going to go to med school, I'm not going to become a doctor, especially since it's not like you took easy classes. You obviously finished with your degree. However, you're still very young. So you started this either during school or right after school. When did that thought come to you?
So I always said Queen E Collection was birthed out of adversity.
Okay.
While I was in college, during that period of time, after my freshman year, the second semester, my mom fell ill. So I thought it was like something that's, she's gonna get better soon, but it actually went on for years. So I went through a lot of like emotional and just setbacks and financial setbacks. A lot of things kind of like my life kind of changed like drastically within a period of, I don't want to think about it now, how many years. So with that, I've always been someone that loved fashion, and I used to just buy whatever I wanted to buy, but I could no longer do that anymore because my mom, who was my sole provider, was no longer able to provide, and she was a great mother, just put it out there. And she still is a great mother. After I graduated from college, within that gap year, me really trying to figure out what I really want to do. Not like I kind of knew what I wanted to do with myself, but at that time, I felt like I went through a lot of stretch while I was in college, just trying to, figure out me. And so I wanted a kind of a little bit of a mental break. And within that process, my love for fashion kind of grew in a different way. And
really?
Yeah, so it was like, I want to go somewhere, but I can't buy the dress I really want, and I don't want Forever 21 because I feel like I'm going to see 5 other girls in the outfit. So what do? Okay, let me go into the store, try to buy the fabric, and figure out how to make what I want.
Wow.
And that's how it kind of started. And I'm like, okay. And when I make the piece and I go out, and everybody will ask me, where did you get that from? I'm like, I made it, but really not. So it wasn't for people, it was just for me at the time. It's just to give myself what I wanted, even though I felt like I couldn't afford it, but that was God also leading me to something I didn't know He had planned for me.
Did you ever make clothing before?
So before that, when I was in college, we would have all this ASA, African Student Association fashion show. Shout out to the designers that used to come, but I kind of didn't really think that clothes were really that great. So I would say, okay, and we couldn't afford because our budget was like barely nothing. So I would go buy some fabric and literally hand sew a lot of the things so that we can add it to the show. But I didn't do that with the intention of going to fashion school, becoming a fashion designer. I always knew that when I'm done with my medical path, or eventually when I established my practice, I was going to open a boutique someday, because I knew I wanted a business, and which other place than to have a business in fashion, which is I obviously love. Wow. So, I mean, that's where I kind of started. And then my senior year of college, I bought one of those little tiny machines from Michael's in Albany, and I tried to figure it out. I was like, okay, this is not working. When I went to visit my mom for, I think, Thanksgiving or Christmas holiday, I just left it in her garage. So after graduation, I moved in with my aunt, and she had a sewing machine. I was like, a real proper one, not the one I bought. I was like, oh, okay, we could do this.
Wow.
And that's what I used to make the clothes for myself when I'm going out, and people would always ask. And then how it actually really started was, I mean, I had a friend from high school. I had not spoken to her since we graduated. It's been 4 years plus afterwards we graduated. We graduated maybe a year plus after. She reaches out to me on Facebook like, oh, where did you get that skirt from that I always see you wear? I'm like, I made it. She was like, really? Can I have 4? I'm like, wow. You don't want 1, you don't want 2, you want 4? Wow. I was like, okay. I graduated from school. I still don't have a job. People are not trying to hire me. How about we start selling this skirt since so many people are asking for it? Wow. I go on my computer, created a little flyer, posted on Facebook, Queen E skirts.
Wow.
That's how it started.
So it wasn't a website, it was a flyer. It
was a little flyer, put pictures of myself on there in the different colors of skirt, posted on my Facebook page, and I was selling out skirts like it was an official business. It was kind of funny because I'm like, really? Wow. And that's how it started. And as I was doing that, I felt so like it just felt natural. Like, you know, something you're doing, it doesn't feel forced, it just felt natural and it felt good. And I was like, okay, this is it. But then again, in my head, I'm like, something was like telling me you should be a fashion designer or whatever. But then another thing was like, oh, you gotta go to med school. Your parents are gonna kill you. Like everybody, the whole entire family are waiting for you to come treat them, you know? Yes. So it was a tug of war for a long time. And then thankfully, that's the time I kind of rededicated my life back to Christ. Amen. And then, you know, instead of having a tug of war between myself, I was now asking the questions, Father, Lord, what's the path that you created for me, that you set for me? Wow. You said before I was formed, you knew who I was. So who am I? What did you lay for me to do on earth for your glory? And then, you know, and after, you know, he started putting the praise in my mouth. Like, yeah, fashion designing is what I want you to do. And he would just open doors. And I think one of the specific prayers I used to pray, just to get more of a distinct, clear answer, I'm like, if fashion is the way that you want me to go, open doors for me in that way. And if medicine is where you want me to be, you know, open doors for me, you know, whichever one it is. And then I started seeing doors open. I didn't even start doing anything when I would have people reach out for me. I'm like, you want that color? Like, really? You really want that? But okay, this is God answering my prayer. And I felt more convinced. And as time went on, I was like, this is it. This is what I'm going to go for it.
Wow. Wow. That's amazing. So it wasn't a first sale of one item. The first sale was 4 people. And then you didn't build a website, you created a flyer and posted it to Facebook.
Yeah, it wasn't like, oh, I'm starting a business and this is where we're going. No, it was just like a trial and error. I was like, you know, I read this thing, like, oh, you know, just try it around your market, you know, on friends and family and test it out. So that's what I was trying to do. I'm like, if this is really something. Wow. So, you know, I just put a flyer out there, and then it was Queen E skirts before it became Queen E collection. I knew at some point I was going to go down the line, but I didn't have it figured out, so I just kept it at Queen E skirts. We're just making skirts at the time. And then when I was ready to take the vision to the next level, I changed the name to Queen E collection.
How long was the time between Queen E skirts and Queen E collection?
Queen E skirts, I would say it was like around 2012, right after we graduated, because that's when that happened. And then, you know, within that 2-year time frame, I was still battling the whole medical school, you know, work day-to-day job and everything. And then 2014, I was like, okay, is either you're gonna do this or you're not gonna do it at all. So I made that phone call to my mom. I'm like, sorry, your prideful daughter is not gonna be a doctor anymore, you know. I'm gonna pursue fashion designing. This is where my purpose and where my calling is. And it's just not about the fashion, but I'm not gonna go into details of that right now. But And she was against it. I'm like, and I want a lunch. And the aesthetics of my brand is Africa, Nigeria, where my culture is. That's what my inspiration is about. So I want to come lunch in Nigeria. So I heard about a African fashion week in Nigeria that was happening a few months later. So I reached out to them and was like, put my name on the list. I put my name as one of the top designers, even though it was brand new. And I want to lunch in that show. And that's what happened. She was against it. I'm like, well, I will be in Nigeria, see you in 2 weeks.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Wow, that's so interesting. That's so interesting. And so what was from skirts, what did you launch into?
To dresses. Like, it's always been something I knew how to do because I just used to make it for myself, but I didn't start putting it out there. So I was like, okay, if I'm going to launch, now it has to be a full brand. Can't just be skirts.
Yes.
So I started working on dresses. I had a little bit of urban feel to it too.
Yes.
Everything. It was just a mixture, just trying to figure out where I fit in.
Wow.
I'm not gonna be honest, first collection, not like it was a mess. People loved it. It was at the time. But now I'm like, really? But it was just trying to figure out, okay, let's create this pants on top, let's do this dress, let's do this, let's do that. All together, this should make them look like it's a collection.
Wow.
And I did that. And I presented it, and it was well received for someone that just came out of nowhere. I'm like, oh, I want to be a fashion designer. So, and when I launched there, it gave me some kind of audience. I did some radio shows. They invited me to radio shows.
Awesome.
And then when I came here, because obviously I launched in Nigeria, I had to do a launch here.
Okay.
So then I started working on the website. That's where the website came in. And then I did a soft launch a few months later in the States. And we've been going since then.
You spoke a little bit that it's more than fashion.
Mm-hmm.
So what does that mean?
So Queenie Collection, to me, it's a brand, it's a platform that God has given to me, and that platform is obviously fashion, to use to impact the lives of others, to serve the young girls, because obviously a queen is a young woman that exudes royal characters.
Yes.
Everything about her is graceful, glorious, full with nobility. Yes. And that is just not about me, it's about showing that to other people, right? So the brand itself, not just only provide clothes, but there's a social aspect to that. Okay. We go into rural communities, we provide our assistance in whichever possible way we can.
Wow.
We even do the same here. So we give our scholarships to young girls and hold events to basically speak life, motivation, just encourage young women to pursue to be their greatest self through education, self-development, as well as developing a faith system that's going to help them achieve every goal that they set out to.
That's so powerful, and I love that you're doing that because many people see fashion sometimes as a thing that divides and tears people down and makes them focus too much on the superficial, but you're really trying to build people up and fill them. That's really awesome.
Thank you.
That's really awesome.
Thank you. I see fashion as a tool, just like music. Music it connects everybody, even though we speak different language, everybody understands that. Yes. I feel like fashion is a language that everyone understands. So instead of tearing down, it should be bringing people together.
Okay. Yeah. Wow, that's awesome. And speaking on that, that's not you also have a brunch. Do you want to tell people about your brunch?
Yes, so I have this brunch that I call Destiny Conversation over Brunch. Destiny basically means like where your life is going to be, or where your life should be, or where your life is going. And we just sit down, it's very casual. I usually get a restaurant that's been lovely. We rent out their third floor space just to ourselves. We eat.
Who's ourselves?
So this is young women across. Currently, because we hold it in New York, most of them are from New York, some of them come out from Jersey or the DMV area. And what we do is basically sit down, like we just had a meeting last week, and when we sit down, we talk about goals. What goals did you set up for yourself in 2018? Which ones did you accomplish and which one did you not accomplish? And why did you accomplish them? And then we set our goals for the next year, and then we, share resources and basically speak life and greatness into each other and just make ourselves available to push provide resources, push each other in the direction that we're supposed to go so that, we can reach the final destination that God has actually planned and set out for us to do.
Wow.
And I believe our destinies are interconnected. So if I when God, like, if I get to a certain level, if I'm successful, I'm going to make sure the people next to me are successful. And I believe the people next to them too, those individuals make sure the people next to them are successful. So it's like a trickle down.
You do so many different things, but every time I go to church, you're always there.
For me, I believe without my relationship, without my faith in God, without God, I'm absolutely nothing. Like, He comes first. I'm always in church because I schedule everything around church. Right, that's the most important. That's the most important thing on my calendar.
Yes.
If it's Tuesday service, anything that needs to happen on Tuesday needs to happen before 7 o'clock, or it would happen after service. That's just how it works.
So let me clarify when I say I always see in church. So our church, we have 3 different days of service, right? There's Sunday, there's Sunday, which are usually the regular services. There's Tuesday, which are prayer service. And then there's Friday, which is young adults. And we have one for the older generation. And every single day, I look over, there's Queen. There is Queen. So that's why I say it's really remarkable, because as I know you're building, your aspirations is to build $1 billion company. And you're not cutting corners, you're not doing this 9 to 5, you're full in on this. And your goal is to really knock this out of the water. However, you make God your priority, which I think is really unique, especially for somebody with ambitions.
Because He's the only one that can bring this to life. He's the only, like, I could be the smartest person, could read all the books I want to read, I could do everything, but I need that God's grace and favor. I need His blessings to take it to the next level. You know, I have a friend where I used to tell him, like, yeah, you're successful, you're doing very well. But I feel like, you know, there's this thing called grace, which is like undeserved favor. Like, it could take me 10 years to build, or 20 years to build a multi-billion-dollar company, but with God's grace and favor, that same 10 years could be cut down to 5 or even 2, because He's a miracle-working God. He comes in and does the work. Sometimes you just rest, just the same way I have a lot of people. How do you do all of them at the same time and you don't feel tired? That's because I'm not the one doing all of it, if that makes sense. It's like, He makes things easier, and it doesn't feel like work. And when you have Him, there's just that calmness and that, I don't even know how to explain it, but I need Him to basically be me. If I don't have Him, I'm not me.
Yes.
And if He's not there, then there's no point doing it.
No, exactly. And I feel the same way. And I speak from experience, because with my other 2 businesses that I did before the ones that I'm running right now, I made the mistake of, I was on that side. I was just doing my business. I don't have time to come to church. I'm putting in these 90, 100-hour weeks. I don't really have time to come to church. And then after my second one, where it was before my second one. It was after my first one, where God got a hold of me and pulled me back in and made Himself a priority in my life, made the priority in my life. Right. And I've seen how much things have changed. And you talk about that favor. That's what it is. Right. He puts me in situations that I don't deserve to be. And even when something goes wrong, because we're not prosperity gospel, right. That's not what we do. Right. He carries me through. Right. It's that peace, that grace. He carries me through, and when things are rough, He
makes a way.
Exactly. So no, I think that's really wonderful. And I want people to know that, because you don't have to compromise. You shouldn't compromise God for your business. I'm always keeping that first. So that's important. That's important. So tell me, what's the future of Queenie Collection?
I'll just keep it sweet for now, right? Queenie Collection is going to be on 5th Avenue. Okay. It's God's work in progress. Not just my work, it's God's work in progress. It's going to be a fashion empire of its own kind. And, you know, regardless of what exists prior to where I am right now, I know it's going to leave a mark in history for generations to come.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, and I can't wait to see that, because I had the pleasure of finally going to one of your fashion shows earlier. And the fact that you combined the fashion show with God. You had prayer beforehand, which is, you never see that at fashion shows. You had somebody pray beforehand for everyone. And 2, the fact that you combined it with a fundraiser for a nonprofit. Remind me of the nonprofit's name? Yes, in a nonprofit serving people in Nigeria.
Right.
And I think that's really special because both of those things I don't see in the fact. We see combined with nonprofits once in a while, but not as for your signature fashion show to be combined and to focus on that. I can't wait till you get to that stage because I know that's going to continue to grow. That's what you're going to do. You're going to keep on working and building and providing for these nonprofits.
Right.
In these communities that really need the help.
Yes. I think there are a lot of non-for-profit out here that do a lot of great work, but because they don't have the platform to really put themselves out there, that's why I always say Queenie Collection is a platform to serve others, right?
Yes.
That's the most important thing. So that platform is already doing a work that I'm not able to do personally, so why not bring them together and we do the service together? And my part is just to present them my platform. Come on this platform where you're gonna be seen, and let's tell the world what you do, and then we can bring more people on board. And that's why, that's the service part.
Let's say somebody wants to come work with you, like they believe in your vision. What are you hiring for right now? Who do you want to be part of your team?
I'm always all about character.
Okay.
Yeah. I appreciate people with the skills, but I feel like, having the skills without the integrity or the character, it's hard for it to grow, actually hard for it to bear the fruits it's supposed to.
Yes.
So I'm currently looking for individuals with great character as a person, meaning, this Queenie Collection is a brand that serves others, a brand that exhibits royalty, nobility, everything good that comes with a man or a woman. So if you have the heart to serve, you have the heart to, to work with integrity and have the passion for fashion, and also whether it's in marketing or whichever area, but you just have the passion to be a part of something and want to see it grow or be, it's kind of like, it's good when you're when you see something succeed and then you were when it was being put together, we're part of people that sow the seed. But if you're looking to be a part of something great, it might not be there right now, but the vision is there. If you can see it without being actually told, in a sense.
Wow, you're so humble. It's not great right now. It's not that's really amazing, and I think that's something a lot of entrepreneurs or a lot of CEOs overlook. They look for people with high skills, great resumes, but they don't have character, and that really kills the spirit of the company. The culture, that's what you're trying to, and especially for your brand, because you're not, even though you're high fashion, you're not chasing profits.
Right.
It's a product of, your high fashion product is a product of the spirit and the quality you create, the quality of the items you create. So I think it's really important and special that people can see that that's what you really want, and hopefully that'll inspire other CEOs to also look at character and really think of that first when hiring and also when building your company, not profits and who can bring you more money. But that's really impressive. Now, so tell them I'll have her website down, but you can go check out her things at Queenie Collection, and she has more information there, queeniecollection.com, and you can go search and message their team if you're interested in applying for a position. She's based here in New York, but she flies back and forth to Africa. However, I can totally vouch, she's an amazing person, really humble. It's hard to actually pull all the accomplishments she does. She keeps a lot of things wrapped up, so you'll see it. You'll see it when this video happens, and you'll just watch her progression. But she's really an amazing person, and I think it's rare to find good CEOs and very ambitious people who actually have great character. So this is something that I'd really recommend you to look at if that's your passion and you have the right character.
Thank you. It's too kind.
Thank you so much for giving us your time on Thanksgiving. Giving us your time on Thanksgiving to really share your story and inspire people, because that's what it's about. Letting people know the realities of running a business, especially when you're Christian, a Black female. So I think it's really special. I'm grateful that you're able to take your time and share your story and really let people know the real things that happen.
Oh, thanks for having me. You've been amazing, and I just thank God for blessing me with great friends like you. And Yeah, it's a pleasure. I truly appreciate it, and I hope you do more of this.
Thank you. Me too. I can't. We're gonna have follow-up series, and we're gonna follow her growth. So remind her when she gets $1 billion, not to forget about us.
No, we'll be there. We're going together.